It is a traditional fish fry today in the sartorial kitchen. Kicking things off, coleslaw with a homemade slaw dressing. Next, it is golden fried crispy potatoes. I'm also making a fried cornmeal hush puppy, a buttermilk battered cod, and lastly to dip, a homemade tartar sauce. So why don't you pull up a chair and dine with me?
Lenten season here in the sartorial kitchen, and you know what that means. Fish, fish, and more fish. So I have a lovely piece of cod here. I had the butcher take care of me. It's skinned and all the bones are out of it. And I'm making a marinade for my cod. I just have a couple cups of buttermilk here. To that, I'm going to add a couple teaspoons of salt and a teaspoon of pepper. And a couple tablespoons of Old Bay seasoning. And I'm just going to give that a little whisk. You can smell that Old Bay. Beautiful. Now this marinade here is going to double as some of our batter later. So it's going to serve a dual purpose. Now I'm just going to portion my fish. I should be able to get 3 pieces out of this. This is a pretty big fillet. I know it's probably hard to see from there, but it's a pretty decent sized fillet. Okay. And that's going to go right into my bag here. And then I'm just going to pour this marinade right over top. Beautiful. Get every little bit of that. And this goes away for later. Seal up my bag. Nice and tight. Give my hands a quick rinse. Anytime I'm working with raw meat, I like to rinse my hands off. Dry those off. Now I'm just going to kind of massage this a little bit. Make sure the fish is completely covered. And this is sealed nice and tight. Now this is going to go in my fridge and chill out while we work on some other fun stuff. Alright, our fish is chilling out, so we're going to move on to our coleslaw. I like coleslaw. It's a traditional fish fry side, and we are fish frying it out today. And what's also nice about coleslaw, with the fish fry, you find a lot of the things are heavy. The fish is fried. We're frying some chips. I'm also doing some hush puppies. So it's good to have a little veg on the plate, and it also gives a nice pop of color. Now what I like to do, I like to make my dressing first in the bowl, and then I can toss my coleslaw in it. It's a lot easier to mix that way. So I've just got about 1.5 cups of mayonnaise. That's going to be our base. Now to that, I've got some red wine vinegar here. I'm just going to eyeball this. We want about a couple tablespoons of the red wine vinegar. And some Dijon mustard. And we're just going to do about a half teaspoon of Dijon mustard. It's a little strong. You don't need as much of that. Of course, some salt and pepper here. Teaspoon of pepper. Teaspoon of salt. And we've got some celery seed here. I'm going to do about half a teaspoon of that. Alright, that looks good. And we just give it a little whisk. Now I have one secret ingredient that will turn anybody on to coleslaw, because I know some people are probably not big on coleslaw, but I like to add a little sugar to the mix. Just a couple teaspoons. Just adds a little sweetness. And what I like is it adds a little sweetness to the cabbage. And it pulls some of that sweetness out of the carrots. This is a slaw mix, so it's got some carrots in it. So it just gives a nice little flavor. Okay, that looks pretty good, ladies and gentlemen. You can tell when it's good. You have that little consistency. It's not too thick, it's a little runny. And it smells good. You can smell the vinegar and all those seasonings in there. And I'm just going to slice this baby open. This is just a small package here. And I'm going to dump that right in. I just like to come in with some tongs and give that a toss. And see, what's great about it this way is it mixes so easily. You just kind of turn it around a bit, and the slaw just, the dressing adheres to that cabbage nicely. And I like to make this in advance, give it time to chill, because it kind of breaks down that cabbage a little bit, makes it a little less toothsome, and gives those flavors time to meld together. That looks pretty good. I'm going to set this guy aside for now. And we can wrap this up and set it in my fridge, and it'll be ready for later when we dish up our plate. Alright guys, the fish is chilling out, and the slaw is coming together in the fridge. So I'm moving on to my hush puppy batter. I've got some cornmeal here, I've got some flour. We're going to start with the cornmeal here. I need a cup of cornmeal. Just kind of level that out. That goes into my sieve here. You guys know anytime I'm baking or putting together any kind of batter, I love, absolutely love, to sift my dry ingredients because it keeps from getting lumps. And to that I just need a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. I've got that right there. I also have some baking powder here. I need 1½ teaspoons of baking powder. And the baking powder, that's going to make our hush puppies nice and fluffy. Now anybody who is not familiar with hush puppies, it's almost like a cornbread type, and they're like little fritters. You fry them up, they are so good, you guys. A nice southern staple. Also to the dry ingredients here, a little salt. About a ½ teaspoon of salt. And I want these guys to have a nice punch of flavor, so I'm also going to do about a ½ teaspoon of pepper and a ½ teaspoon of this Old Bay. This is going to give it a really nice kick. Okay, we're done with that. Just going to sift this up. And you can see right now while we sift, I've got little granules here of the flour and the cornmeal. So it's great to sift that. Nobody wants lumpy hush puppies. Alright, we are done with you. Thank you. Alright, time for the wet ingredients. 1 egg, lightly beaten. I like to beat my egg first before I add it in. One, it incorporates better when the egg's already beaten, and when you break it into a separate container, you can watch for eggshells. Nobody wants eggshells in their hush puppies. And I need 3/4 cup of buttermilk. You can just kind of eyeball that. Alright, we're done with these guys here. And I'm just going to whisk this baby up. You just want everything to be nice and incorporate it nicely. The batter's going to be a little coarse because of the cornmeal. But yeah, you just want to make sure everything comes together nicely. And then once I get the oil going, we're just going to kind of spoon it out. A little ice cream scoop will be good to go. And I think that looks pretty good. And we can let this rest and move on to our potatoes. Alright, potato time. It is not a fish fry without French fries. I've got some Yukon Gold here. They're my favorite whenever I'm doing like a brown potato. Italian cooking, I like to use the baby reds, as you've seen that, or like a medley. But they don't work so well for French fries. They're good for like maybe baking, and I like using them for mash. So I'm just peeling my potatoes here. It's okay to leave some of the peel on. I don't go all the way. I leave a little peel here. They're going to fry better without the peel on it. And then we're just going to dice them into little sticks. I like to soak my potatoes in some hot water. Hot salted water. That's going to tenderize the potatoes a little bit on the inside. So you can get them, you dry them off, and they get nice and crisp on the outside, and then the inside is nice and soft and pillowy. And last guy here, I'm just doing 3 potatoes. It's I'm not serving a lot of people here, so. Alright, I'm just going to come in here with my knife. I'm going to slice these guys in half and lay them down and just cut them into nice little strips. If you like the wedges, you can cut bigger wedges. You like the shoestring, you know, it's whatever you like. You just want to make sure they're the same size so they cook the same. We're going to be frying them up. If you have some pieces that are smaller and some that are bigger, they're not going to get done at the same time. You're going to have some pieces that are not cooked and some pieces that are overcooked. So it's good to make sure, and that goes with anything. Anytime you're fixing vegetables or any kind of meat, you want everything to be the same size so it all cooks the same. So I'm just going to slice these guys up. And another good reason for throwing these into water, potatoes will oxidize. They'll start to get that color to them. Not a good time. So it's good to kind of slice them up. Okay, here's my potatoes. To that, I'm going to do a couple teaspoons of salt. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's going to be watered down. And then we're just going to throw some water on these. I like to use hot water. The potatoes get nice and soft, and I'm just going to let them rest in this water until we're ready to fry up. We'll drain the water off, and we'll blot them down with the towel to kind of dry them off. They won't fry if they're wet, and they'll make your oil splatter. Not a good time. Okay, so there's my potatoes. I'm going to clean up here, and we will be ready to start cooking. Alright, I got my oil in here. It's on a medium heat. I want it to come up to about 350, not too high. Alright, and we're going to move on to the batter for my fish. We're going to use part of this marinade. To that, I have an egg, just 1 egg, and I'm going to pour out about a cup of the batter here. You can kind of eyeball that. Just a cup. Okay. Some self-rising flour here. We just need about a half a cup. That looks good. Give it a nice whisk. Make sure you break that egg up. And you want to get around the sides, make sure you get all that flour up in there. And you can kind of tell the consistency. It's going to have like an almost pancake batter-like consistency. Now you can do a beer batter if you want. Instead of the buttermilk, you add beer to this. But I want to kind of... I like the buttermilk. It's also good in the marinade because it helps tenderize the fish. And cod's a good fish for fish frying. It's a nice mild fish. It's not too strong. And it's a little meaty, so it holds up to being fried nicely. Got my potatoes. We're going to drain the water off of our potatoes here. And I'm just going to dump them onto this paper towel. I want to blot them down with my paper towel. If they're wet, they're not going to fry. They're just going to kind of steam. They're not going to get real crispy. And any moisture is going to send our oil flying all over the room. It is live and learn. It is not a fun time. Okay, potatoes look good. The potatoes first. What's good about the potatoes, they're nice and long. So you can kind of stick it in your oil and see if it's hot enough yet. And that sounds pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and throw these guys in. Drop them lightly You do not want any backsplash of grease. And just kind of lightly set those in. They're going to take the longest to cook through, so I'm going to let them go first. And then I'm going to batter up our fish and get that ready to go. So the fish I've got here. And I just need some tongs. We're going to reach in here and get our fish out. Get rid of our whisk here. This fish, and I'm just going to submerge the fish into our batter. Just kind of turn it around on both sides and set that right on the paper towel. I've got 2 more pieces in here. Just turn that around. And last piece. Yum. I'm not always big on seafood, but this time of year I do enjoy my fish fries. Okay, that is our fish. Okay, those potatoes are frying away. And while they do that, I'm going to move on to a homemade tartar sauce. So we're just going to take the rest of our mayonnaise here, about a cup. And you can buy the jar tartar sauce, it's not a big deal, but I just want to show you how easy it is to make a nice, delicious homemade tartar sauce. So yeah, just the rest of this mayonnaise, about a cup. I've got some pickles here. And I'm going to take some of this juice. I want to get just a couple tablespoons of the pickle juice in there. That's going to add a nice acidity. And you get the vinegar from the pickle juice. I'm going to take some of the pickles out. About 4 or 5. We're going to dice those up. That's going to go in there. I'm just going to slice these babies in half. They're kind of small. I like the smaller ones. They dice up nicely. And come through this way. And just kind of mince them into little pieces. Then I like to go back and forth with my knife and just kind of mince them up. And that's going to go right into the jar. Capers here, I like the capers. I'm going to do about a ½ teaspoon of capers, not too many. They had a nice little salty note. They play nicely with the. They're pickled as well. They're caperberry seeds. They're pickled as well. They play nice with the pickles. I've got some dill here. About 1/4 teaspoon of dill. That's going to add some a nice fresh flavor. A little salt, about ½ teaspoon, because we've got the capers in there, so we don't need a ton of salt. Some pepper. About ½ teaspoon of pepper as well. And some lemon. I'm just going to roll this lemon out. I'm going to save a little to squeeze on my fish when it comes out of the fryer. I love citrus with seafood. But I'm going to take about half of this lemon. I'm going to squeeze it right in here. I like, the lemon gives it some freshness with that, and the pickle juice kind of cuts through the richness of that mayonnaise. Mayonnaise can be kind of heavy. And you just want to watch for seeds when you're squeezing your lemon out. And we're just going to mix this up. I got a little spoon here. And I like this, the packets of tartar sauce, or if you get the jar tartar sauce, sometimes it's just kind of one note. This I like because it's got some different textures in it and some different flavors. So it just gives you something nice and fresh on the plate, something to dip that fish into. I'm going to save this other half of this lemon for after the fish comes out. Alright, fries are golden brown, they look delicious. And I've got my little spider here. I'm just going to fish them out. I've got a little tray here, little paper here. I'm just going to kind of let them settle down here. They're a little greasy, so I like to use the paper towel to blot off the grease. And I got 2 more pieces here. Oh, those smell amazing and they look great. I'm just going to hit them with a little salt. Always good to salt things when they come out of the fryer. And we're going to move on to our fish and our hush puppies. Move on to my fritters next. I'm just going to plop those right into the oil. This recipe makes about a dozen or so. Depending on how big you make them. Mine are about golf ball size. I feel like that's traditional size. What you would see at the fish fry. And let's see, looks like I got about 10 out of here. Like I said, it depends. But that's plenty for me. And those are just going to cook a few minutes on each side. You let them get a nice color on them and flip them over, and then they're ready to come out too. I'm going to come in here and flip these guys over. You can see they are nice and golden brown. Yum. What I like about hush puppies, they're nice and soft on the inside, and then you get that crisp on the outside. It's just a nice play on textures. I'm going to flip these over and we're going to let them go for another couple minutes, and I'm going to move on to my fish. Alright, hush puppies. Let's make some room here. I'll slide my fries over. And they should be good to go. Oh, those look amazing, you guys. Yum, yum, yum. Nice and firm and crisp. And last but not least, our main course. Alright. I'm going to hit these guys with a little salt as well. Beautiful. And we're going to come in here and get our fish. And I just want to be real delicate with the fish. And just kind of slowly set it right in. Listen to that sizzle. I love the sizzle when your oil's nice and good and hot, because you know something good's about to happen. And the fish, just like our hush puppies, takes a few minutes on one side, and then you just want to flip it over. Gotta get nice and brown on one side and turn it right over. And we'll let the other side go. This takes, literally just takes a few minutes each side, that's it. I'm going to turn my oil down just a little bit. It's nice and good and hot. Oh yeah, this looks good, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to turn it over one more time before I take it out. And you can see that nice, beautiful golden brown. I'm just going to set this down here. I have another paper towel here to blot this grease. And we have a straggler here. Nice. Alright, we're going to turn the oil off. And we will plate up. Move this off the heat. Let it chill out. Okay, I'm going to take the rest of my lemon here. Just give a little squeeze over top. Some people like malt vinegar, you know, whatever you guys like. It's good to throw a little acid on the fish. And I'm just going to give it a little salt too, just a pinch of salt. We'll plate my fish here. I think I'm going to take the tartar sauce and just do a little smush on my plate. Try and get a little fancy here. We'll grab a few hush puppies. Got a little one here. And then some of our fries. And don't think I forgot about my slaw, because I sure didn't. I have got it right here. It's just been chilling out in my fridge. And you can see now it's nice and incorporated. And I need to make some room here, huh? So, I think I'll take just a taste of this here, right down on my plate. And a fork would be handy. And tell me this does not look like a fish fry feast. Yum, I cannot wait. Okay, so I think I'm going to start with the hush puppies. Okay. Can you hear that crunch? Oh my gosh. So, you have the, that crunch, it's the cornmeal on the outside. You get that nice texture. And then it's nice, you can see it's nice and soft and pillowy on the inside. The fries, I tried one earlier, but I think I'll have another. I like to dip them in my tartar as well. Again, they're nice and crisp on the outside, soft on the inside. And the fish, actually before I do the fish, let's take a little taste of the slaw here. Okay, yeah. Get a little crunch from the cabbage. It's, you know, a nice textural contrast. And then you get those flavors, a little sweet from the sugar, the acid, the mustard. It's a nice dressing, and I use that dressing for all kinds of things. I use it for coleslaw, macaroni salad or pasta salad. Throw some veggies, kind of mix that up. It makes a good salad dressing. It's just delicious. And now onto the main course, our fish. I'm going to, I needed a bigger plate, I guess. I'm just going to come in here and cut into that fish. And you can see the fork goes just right through it. It's just a nice, tender, flaky fish. And come in here and get some of this tartar. Nice crispy batter on the exterior. The fish is just moist. Falls right apart in your mouth, nice and flaky and buttery. The tartar is great. Just a nice fresh note. The lemon, the pickle, the capers. Just a nice component there. You get a little zing from the Old Bay. A perfect meal for Lent. So, I hope you have enjoyed my fish feast today and have learned how to fend for yourself. As always, like and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and until next time, bon appetit.